I go, let me guess, the brakes failed. He goes, yes, but this does not help your case. I handle a lot of lemon law cases. I'm an attorney in Michigan. That's all I do. My practice has been devoted to lemon law now for over 30 years. I've been practicing for 34. And a lemon law claim is where somebody buys a brand new vehicle and they are driving it and it has a problem, a substantial defect or nonconformity, and it can't be repaired after 3 or 4 repair attempts. In Michigan, it takes 4 repair attempts. But you can send a last chance letter after 3, demand that the manufacturer fix it, and they can't. They got to buy it back from you or refund your money. And that's all I've been doing for 30 some odd years. So I get cases all over the place. I've had some wild ones. I've had some run-of-the-mill ones. I've had some where a whole bunch of cars with the same problem. And I had a guy come into my office, and this type of case can be problematic, but the guy comes into my office and says, Steve, the brakes in my car are funny. Sometimes they don't work. Now, I've driven cars my entire life, for the most part, and I understand how brakes work, and I know that that is a problem proving it, especially if it's intermittent. Because if it doesn't happen all the time, how do you demonstrate it? And how many mechanical things don't happen all the time? But there are things that can happen for whatever reason. And my client is an extremely intelligent, well-spoken person. And I don't think it's buyer's remorse. I think it's legitimately something wrong with his car. So I look at his repair orders, and every time he brings it in, the mechanics are taking him seriously. They're not saying no problem found, which is what they'll say if they can't find a problem. And that makes the car harder to handle as a lemon, because they're going to say, we could never see the problem. It doesn't exist. It's in his mind. But here, they clearly are taking him seriously. So I go, okay, I'm going to file a lawsuit. And I've got an expert who can inspect the car. And my guy says, yeah, there's something wrong with these brakes. The brakes act funny. I don't know what it is, but it's not our job to fix it. It's our job to say there's something wrong with it we can prove in court. So my opposing counsel doesn't believe me. And he goes, nothing wrong with your guy's car. I go, well, go talk to the mechanics at the dealerships who've worked on it. They seem to think there's something wrong. They just couldn't find it. And the guy goes, no. We'll see you in court. I go, why don't you have your guy inspect it? Because manufacturers have got experts, just like we do, you know. So the guy goes, fine. And so they make an appointment for my guy to drop the car off. They put him in a loaner, and they go, come back in a day, but we'll call you. Come back in a day, and we'll give you your car back. The client calls me and goes, Steve, I dropped the car off 2 days ago, and they haven't called me yet. What's going on there? And I said, let me make a phone call. I call the other attorney. He goes, well, Steve, I'm glad you called. We got an issue. I go, what's it? And he goes, my expert rear-ended a car while driving your client's car. I go, let me guess, the brakes failed. He goes, yes, but this does not help your case. And I go, really? And I'm laughing at him. I go, really? Explain that to me. He goes, the brakes failed for my expert in a different way than they failed for your client. And I go, wait a second. Now, I don't want to get too deep into the weeds here, but Michigan's lemon law and most lemon laws say that if there's a defect or nonconformity, it talks about a condition. And the condition is brake failure. I go, so you think your brake failure is different than my client's brake failure? And he goes, yes. And let me explain it. He starts explaining to me how his guy is going to say that somehow it was something that happened this way that they can fix. And what your guy's complaining about, we couldn't confirm. And I go, didn't your guy confirm it when he rear-ended somebody on Woodward Avenue? And he goes, no, completely different. Having practiced law in this field for 30 years, I know everybody. I know the attorneys who I compete against. I'm friends with many of them. I know the attorneys who defend the car companies really, really well. This was a manufacturer I don't sue as often, and I've never dealt with this guy. But I'm thinking to myself, how would the other attorneys I deal with at Ford, GM, Chrysler, or whoever else, how would they deal with it? And I know for a fact that they would all just say, Steve, brake failed and our expert will buy it back. Obviously. And the guy goes, no. My expert's going to come into court and testify that his brake failure, where he rear-ended a car with your client's car, is a different kind of brake failure. And I go, by the way, how's the other car? Because now my client's insurance theoretically might get hit. And he goes, no, don't worry. There's no damage to the car he hit. But he goes, there is damage to your client's car. And I go, oh, really? So I actually went over to the dealership. It was right down the street from my office. And the car was out on the lot. I found it. Photographed the front end of the car. And it had been buckled and popped back out and paint damage, that kind of thing. So I call the guy back and I go, so you're still where you were before, right? And he goes, yeah. I go, you're not going to settle this case? He goes, no. I go, so just work with me here. We're going to go to trial and we're going to pick a jury. 6 people, all of them car owners. They've all driven cars before. Gas pedal, brake. Some of them clutch, but gas pedal brake, okay? And we're going to be talking to the jury And I'm going to get up there and say, my client's going to explain to you about a brand new car, brought it in 4 times for brake failure. They couldn't fix it. We filed a lawsuit. Our expert looks at it, brake failure. Their expert looks at it and rear ends somebody with brake failure. But they don't want you to believe there's something wrong with my client's car. And he's like, I got no problem with that. And I go, I'll see you in court. And about a half hour later, he called me back and goes, we'll buy the car back. I honestly don't know. And this is the thing. And sometimes I can get attorneys to tell me things, and sometimes I can't. And I go, you've got to tell me. Did you want to buy the car back and your client didn't want to? And he goes, I can't say anything. Because I've had cases before where there's an obstinate client who wants to, for whatever reason, go down with the ship. I mean, they're going underwater swearing that the boat is still, they're going to take that argument to the grave. And I've also had it before where there's an attorney. I've seen an attorney who seemed steadfast in their beliefs, and I'm convinced that their client actually doesn't want to, but they've somehow convinced their client to do this. I don't know what the problem was here because I don't know what's wrong with my client's car. There's clearly something wrong with the brakes, but whether they could find it fix it, I don't know. But a lot of people do ask me, and they say, Steve, what happens to these cars that get bought back? And I like to point this out to people because I've actually had someone tell me, I work for a car company, and we buy them back and crush them. I got news for you. These cars get put back in the stream of commerce very quickly. So what most car companies do, and I can't speak to all of them because there's some car companies out there that I probably can't even think about, but what most car companies do, they buy a car back, and there's about 12 states that require title branding, where they'll actually brand the title and say automobile warranty buyback or lemon law buyback or something that's branded right on the title. So in Michigan, you get a green title and it says certificate of title. Michigan does not brand titles, but other states do. So you look to see the titles branded. In Michigan, they do brand, however, like salvage titles and things like that. So you look for a title brand, but not all states title brand. So what happens is most car companies take the cars, buy them back. It's the manufacturer buying it back, not the dealership. They buy the car back. They send it to a dealership and say, would you please do what you can to fix it? They send it to auction, and the auctions are usually closed and they're only open for dealers. And they will say, this car is a lemon law buyback. And if it's in a state that requires branding, they'll get branded. If not, no. But they do disclose it. And they also will say, we're going to extend the warranty on the car, and that'll make it to where if the brakes have problems again down the road with my client's car, that they'll work on it some more, even outside of the regular warranty. They'll extend the warranty further on the brakes. And the question is, how good will that work? Because they couldn't fix it the first 4 or 5 attempts. What makes you think they can fix it ever again? I've had people say, but Steve, how do you know any of this is true? And I've represented the same car twice. So I had a client who bought a vehicle, had problems, dealership buys it back, car goes out in the stream of commerce. But 3 months later, another person calls me and goes, hi, Steve, I bought a used car. So I can't help you. And she goes, I think you can, because I tracked down the original owner, and it was this former client of yours who had problems with this vehicle and got it bought back, and I've got it now. And I said, okay. And she goes, I bought it from the same dealership that your client bought it from. So that dealership went to dealer auction and bought back the truck they'd worked on 4 times and failed to fix, knowing it had been bought back, took the vehicle back in, took the extended warranty and all the other paperwork they're supposed to have the client sign, and pitched it. And so I know some car companies actually require the second buyer to sign a document saying, I acknowledge this is a lemon law buyback, but I'm getting an extra warranty in exchange. Dealership pitched it. I filed a second lawsuit, and this is a great example of what happens when you know the attorneys. And the attorney called me up and goes, we'll buy it back. First phone call, no discussion. He's agreeing to buy back a used vehicle, despite the fact there's no lemon law on used vehicles in Michigan in that situation. And he said, oh, don't worry. Ford's not paying for it. The dealership is. Because the dealership knew they're the ones who bought this vehicle back from the auction. So getting back to my client with the brakes, that vehicle had brake problems. A jury would have bought that. They bought the car back eventually, but not until their expert had rear-ended somebody with it. And they were almost going to go to trial with that, but they changed their minds. But the point is, I feel sorry for somebody because somebody out there bought that vehicle down the road, and I hope they got those brakes fixed.
Today's video is brought to you by Avalon King, and right now Avalon King is in the middle of their 4th of July sale, and they've got some amazing deals, including up to 50% off a limited selection of their products and some very special deals just for VINwiki viewers. The best of all is their Armor Shield 9 DIY ceramic coating. I've used it on my cars for years and I love it because it's so easy to install. One person can coat an entire car in about an hour and a half, including the wheels and glass and everything else. It's so easy to put on. They give you an applicator, they give you a microfiber cloth, and it is a wonderful, wonderful product. One of these little bottles is enough for a small to medium-sized car, but order 2 if you've got something big. Visit them at the link in the description below for special offers for our viewers, and coat your car with their AS9 DIY ceramic coating. You can even coat your shower doors and things like that. It makes water, dust, dirt, everything just bead right off.